Hey everybody, this is Minion Soldier and this is the Piracy Show. Now, yesterday on Asking All Devs, they were talking about scanning, specifically scanning the interior of your ship to find intruders. And they didn't really go into too much detail, though they kind of hinted that it will be possible to scan your ship. And let's say you've got 8 crew members on your ship and you scan, you may see 9 life forms, and then you know you have an intruder on board and you can send security to get them. And that seemed like a pretty reasonable approach to me. That seemed interesting because when we look at things like infiltration and hacking, the most powerful hacking you can do, the most destructive hacking that you can do to a ship requires that you are there on site. You can't simply sit in a Herald and just remotely hack someone's ship, overload their power core, shut down their engines. You can do minor things to them, but in order to do the major damage to their ship, you have to infiltrate. You have to get aboard their ship and basically attack those systems at that location. Now, of course, this kind of brings us to a point in discussion where obviously people are going to be like, oh, I don't think people should be able to sneak onto other people's ships. I don't think that people should be able to hack the locks on doors and just sneak into another ship. You know, that's just a pirate thing. That's just dirty tricks. I don't like it. It shouldn't be in the game. But think about it for a second. Pull yourself away from that mentality and look at it from an objective perspective. You could use that same talent, that same technique to infiltrate a pirate ship. You could use that to resolve a mission in the game. Let's say there's a mission that involves sneaking onto a pirate Idris and capturing the captain because, you know, there's a huge reward. That might require a lot of assets to complete ordinarily. That might require a lot of complementary ships working together as a team to take that ship out. But what if you could, say, fly in with a prowler, very stealthily drop off a buddy who can EVA open the door, EVA over, hack the door, open it, infiltrate the ship, and be waiting so that you can shut down its power system, or he can shut down the power systems at just the right time, and you can disable that whole ship with your prowler and then capture the guy just like that, just with a 2-man team. That's, I think, tactically probably the more interesting and the more fun approach to look at things that way. And having these types of mechanics in the game, I think, makes the game a better game, makes it a richer game. Now, in the past, I've talked about having roving security on your ship. Like, there's a docking port right there. If you can hire NPCs at a station or buy game packages and convert those into basically high-value NPCs, you could station guards at the various entry and egress points from your ship so that anybody sneaking aboard is immediately going to be confronted with a guard on your vessel. And probably the NPCs would be best suited for that kind of duty, as it's going to be something very boring and something very long term, so you don't want your friend to get, basically get on your ship and then you say, all right, go guard that door, watch that door, make sure no one's, sneaks in for the next 3-4 hours. Doesn't sound too exciting to me. I mean, you might be tempted also to just put a couple of guards out on guard duty, just roving around your ship, just exploring. It depends on what's possible. Maybe you can only station them at doors. Maybe they won't be able to patrol. It depends on what CIG basically puts in place in the game, what mechanics they allow us to achieve with NPCs. But with something simple like that, you can, of course, kind of get that peace of mind of saying, okay, the airlocks and the hatches to my ship are more or less protected now. I have somebody guarding my ship so that, let's say, I leave the door open and I go into wherever, Shubin Mining or ArcCorp, and I go to purchase minerals, but I accidentally leave the door open. There's someone there guarding the door, protecting my ship so no one can sneak aboard. Now, it's also possible that simply scanning your ship may not, in fact, be a 100% solution. The way CIG has described it, especially in the past, when they were originally going for Star Marine during the original Ilphonic push towards Star Marine, they had hinted and alluded at the fact during various Around the Verse episodes that the lighter the armor you wear, the harder you would be to find on a ship's sensors or on a station sensor, so you may be able to move around undetected depending on what type of armor you wear. Of course, the trade-off being you're far less protected in terms of actual, ballistic projectiles penetrating the suit and therefore killing you. And I think it's an important thing to have kind of an infiltrator class, or a group of people who, if not by a strict grouping of, say, you're this class, you're that class, this person's a rogue, that person's a paladin sort of bullshit, but to allow players the freedom to simply put on the right kit and to have the right play style, the right information upstairs in their head to be able to play however they want to play when they want to, and being able to infiltrate ships, whether they be criminal ships or law-abiding starships. I think it's an important dimension for the game to have. Stealth, those kind of stealth missions, stealth operations can be very fun and very rewarding, and there's a lot of white knuckle moments that come from that are just, I think, probably some of your more exciting gameplay moments out there, when you simply slip past a guard without getting noticed, or you pull something huge off and you're able to escape. I can't tell you the amount of times back in the day when I used to take my rogue and sneak into Stormwind to kill the auctioneers and then sneak out and get away scot-free. Those were some exciting, heart-pounding against the rib cage moments that were a lot of fun. And honestly, I think that in Star Citizen, the way the ships are designed, obviously the interiors have a certain FPS level esqueness to them, and they do allow for little nooks and crannies and places to hide in ships. Not that many, but there's a few places where you can tuck yourself away on someone else's or an NPC ship, and I think that would be a pretty rewarding or exciting experience. Maybe even just the idea of, let's say you just want to, sort of the way people hop trains and they get, they sneak onto a train and they just go wherever the train takes them and have that type of adventure. Maybe you're the type of person who just wants to practice that just by sneaking onto other people's ships and then just flying around in them to see where you can go or where this person ends up taking you unknowingly. I think that would be a lot of fun and make for some interesting videos. Now, having something like NPCs guarding the interior of your ship is probably something that is, it's going to be something that CIG is probably working on off in the future. It's probably not something that we're going to see anytime soon, however. And I think the reason for that is, of course, it's not the highest priority out there, and also because from a gameplay perspective, they probably want people to more and more get used to sharing the experience with other players. After all, it is a massively multiplayer online game, so they probably want you to get used to bringing your friends along in your starship rather than just plugging in NPCs. So strategically, they're probably going to wait a while before they allow us to do that, or if it does come, it's probably not going to be at least within the next year. I can't recall seeing it on the roadmap, but it may be a minor component of a major goal on that roadmap, so who knows, it may be there. But I guess I don't really think that you're ever going to get to a point where you can simply scan your ship and be 110% certain that there's no one aboard your ship. There's probably going to be ways to evade that. So it's probably a good idea, especially if you own a large ship, to kind of think of certain contingency plans to secure your vessel when you're hitting a populated port, or maybe even when you're out in space doing a mission in a site that maybe other people have access to, where someone might see an opportunity to sneak aboard your ship. if you're out there and you're infiltrating people's starships right now, like if you're sneaking on people's starships, I know that there is kind of the fun thing of getting, you know, a couple of crime stat rating and then showing up at Olisar and then sneaking onto someone's ship and then getting that ship blown up. That's kind of, you know, something that people do from time to time. No one in particular. I've never done it. But if you are sneaking onto people's ships, one of the more important techniques to develop is the technique of never getting caught, of them never being aware that you were there in the first place. You know, I made a video, I think it was like a year and a half ago, where I actually snuck aboard somebody's Mustang, and the person actually ended up watching the video, and they commented below. They were like, "I didn't even know you were there." And so, yeah, it was, what happened though? I think when he went to Quantum, it somehow glitched me and threw me out of the ship at Quantum, and so I ended up dying. But yeah, I think that would be something rewarding and kind of funny to do if you're looking to kind of give someone a moment where they're kind of like, holy shit, there was someone on my ship. Like, let's say someone's got a reclaimer, sneaking aboard that reclaimer and just kind of like maybe leaving a package on the captain's desk or something that stands out immediately, so that they're going to see it when, you know, next time they play the game. If they, you know, log out in the ship properly and then they spawn the ship back up, they might go by the captain's cabin and find something left over there and think, oh, holy shit, someone was on my ship. This wasn't me. I didn't do this. And I think that kind of moment, even though you won't be there for the payoff, would be pretty hilarious. The real payoff for you would be in developing the technique to pull something like that off. Even though mechanics may change, equipment may change, things like that may change, you'll still have a good baseline awareness of where your best opportunity to sneak aboard a starship is, how to do it, and you'll kind of have a lot of those things already down pat. So by the time you are required to do those things in game for real, you'll have a better sense of how to get those things done, and it won't so much be trial and error as it will be for newer players. Or the usual, you know, Johnny-come-latelys that whenever a new gameplay mechanic or something gets released, they kind of go, oh, let's try this out, but they won't have that same baseline level of technique that you'll have already developed. So, I don't know, something to think about. Anyways, that's the show for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.
Thank you for watching. So if you want to keep up with the latest and greatest in the Star Citizen and Squadron 42's development, please follow us on our social media channels. See you soon.